Okay, Bobby, you're our intro guy.
Today is a special day, and today is a podcast where we talk about that special day. Again, I'm Bobby Parker.
And I'm Joey Nickel.
Welcome to Today Is. Again, today.
Yeah, that was terrible. So we had been recording. We recorded.
Have we? Had we been?
We weren't. We recorded video.
Okay.
We recorded video for about 30 minutes.
30
Yeah.
strong
And
minutes.
did not record any audio. So that was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first time that's happened.
Yeah. As far as we know, that's the first time that's
It's the
happened.
first time it's happened, which is good. I'm setting up a backup recording.
So
just in case just in case we're idiots again.
yeah, let's we're not going to rehash the entire conversation, but we're going to touch on some highlights.
Let's touch on some highlights. You had a great show. You
I
had a great weekend performing. Very good. Very happy with your performances.
yes,
You had a couple sold out.
couple sold out. Most were, if not sold out, there were very few seats left. We had a couple standing ovations. We had just an amazing cast experience. I mentioned this very specifically before. The female lead, the lady that played my sister, her name's Jana. Phenomenal actress, just hilarious. One of my favorite actresses of all time that I haven't worked with a lot of actresses, but I've worked with a couple. She's the funniest. She's just able to go from sad to crazy, just at the drop of a hat, and make it so worthwhile and believable. So
That's great.
Yes.
I'm glad that you had such a good experience.
Yep.
I'm glad you had some good co-stars to work with on this show, and it sounds like you're gonna try to do more of these.
I am. I'm even considering some musicals, which very much scares me. But people are convincing me that there's going to be enough good musical direction and teaching to keep me in line.
Sounds great. I'm so glad you're having a good experience with that. I did not. I was not able to come. I wanted to come, but I had the kids all weekend, and my wife had the oldest child with her at Disney, so I didn't have anybody to babysit, and I didn't want to bring the 8-year-old with me.
Yeah, I get that.
But I'm glad that you had a good time, and I look forward to your career moving forward with these plays and musicals. Let's see, what else did we talk about that didn't get recorded? Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Get a burrito at Buc-ee's. That's the best food. The food is not usually cheap, but they do have cheap chips and drinks.
Yes, and their breakfast burritos.
Burritos are very good.
Are less expensive.
Yes.
But very, very tasty.
Very
really good
tasty.
eggs.
Really good
I'd
eggs.
like to focus on that.
Good tortillas.
Yeah.
Very good breakfast burritos. What else?
Cheap gas.
Cheap gas. Here's a tip for you. Here's a tip in our late stage capitalism to help you save on gas. 7-Eleven rewards. I was able to get $1.40 off a gallon, $1.20 off a gallon, and $1.05 off a gallon. The last 3 fill-ups that I got at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, and you had originally said $1 off, and I had to verify it was a gallon.
Yeah,
I'm
a
like,
gallon.
That is.
So I'm getting it
that
for
is
I
crazy.
think it was like $2.40 a gallon and then $2.80 a gallon, something like that. It's very good prices if you sign up for their rewards program. Use the app. That's my advice to you today. Shantytown was a great show.
Oh, excellent.
Last Monday night, Shantytown was a great show. We had a good time. It wasn't the craziness of the 420 show. Did we talk about the 420 show yet?
We did. Yeah, you had 31 comedians?
comics
Yeah.
at the 420 show. We had maybe 15 this week.
Okay.
Which is normal. That's our normal amount,
normal.
15. So, honestly, it's a great show.
Yeah.
We ended up getting through it a lot quicker than the week before, and so we had a little extra time, and there was still an audience there at the end of the show. So I ended up doing about 15 minutes at the close of the show. Ended up having a really good set. It was a lot of fun. I would honestly come to that show. Like, come to that show
Yes.
if you want to come check out a cool show, and you don't care if the show. Well, if you don't care if the show's clean.
Yes, that's
Yeah, you don't know what people are like. I can't guarantee what anybody's going to say while they're up there.
no,
'Cause
but
it's an open mic.
chances are at least some of it's going to be funny.
Yes, we always have at least, I want to say, at least 3 professional comics there.
Yes.
There's always Marcus is almost always there. I'm there, obviously. Most of the time, we have Chris Bach will go up. So there's always at least three or 4 professional comics that go up on that show, and then the rest are aspiring or open micers. Really fun show. Really fun show. Richard too. Richard's a professional comic. Richard Aragon.
Yeah.
So he does a set almost every time. So.
Does Isaiah show up there very often?
Isaiah has not been in a while.
Okay.
But yeah, he used to show up more, but I think he's got a 9 to 5, normal 9 to 5 right now. So I think it's a little rough for him to show up that late. But it was a good show. I don't
Excellent.
know what else to. I'm very mad that we didn't get the first 30 minutes of our recording.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to be a short episode.
This is I'll tell you now. This is absolutely going to be a short episode.
Yeah. All right. So today is May 1st. It is May Day.
May Day.
Now, I had no idea what May Day was.
I just knew that it was not American.
So why do you say it's not American? I have no idea. All I have is what's on this paper. That's the only knowledge I have of May Day. I printed out some information about May Day. It's May 1st, and it actually has a dual significance. Call the term May Day.
So here's what I think I know about May Day, and we'll check it versus your paper.
Okay.
So what I think I know about May Day is that it was a holiday established by communists to celebrate the worker and to stick it to capitalist greed.
Sounds awesome.
It's I hate May Day, which also makes it funny because people say, hey, what May Day we're going down. So
it actually is unrelated.
Well, I think it's related because people that celebrate communism don't realize how much they're tanking society.
So you famously feel like corporations should control all of our souls.
I famously believe that capitalism is the much better choice.
Capitalism is the purest form of any government that we could ever have in society, and that it is always good and will never fail us, right?
Yep, that's pretty much exactly it.
And that corporations should get as much money as possible out of us at any given time.
Well, yeah, because we own the corporations.
Yeah.
So sure.
According to the limited, what do we say? The limited extensive research that I've done.
Our limited extensive research.
It started as an ancient spring festival.
Okay.
May Day.
Okay.
And the celebration traces its roots back to some pagan festivals in the Celtic era, and the Roman era. It's supposed to be a time of fertility and renewal, obviously a springtime, May Day. But in the 19th century, it became International Workers' Day, is what it is.
That sounds like communist stuff.
Since the 1880s, May 1st has been recognized as International Workers' Day to observe. To be observed globally to advocate for workers' rights, fair wages, and better working conditions. Major highlights include labor union rallies and protests, workers worldwide march to demand labor reforms and social justice, recognition of the 8-hour workday, a historic achievement credited to labor movements commemorated today, and global demonstrations. Countries such as France, Germany, and Russia hold large-scale demonstrations for labor rights. That's what May Day is worldwide.
So they're celebrating the 8-hour workday and labor rights, I pretty much guarantee they won't mention anything about Henry Ford and his business interests to go to an 8-hour workday. And pay his workers more because it was better for his business. It was more efficient model. They'll gloss over that. They'll gloss over the business metrics and the great business decisions involved.
So first of all, let's point out Henry Ford was a monster. So let's point that out, not because of his labor practices, but because he was racist. So let's just get that out of the way right now before we start praising Henry Ford officially on our podcast. But I do agree.
What?
You don't know he's a racist?
I'm sure almost every person from that era was a racist.
Yeah, but in a way that affected people. In a hiring practice that affected people.
I'm sure you can say that about almost any person from that era.
Sure, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't acknowledge it. That doesn't mean we shouldn't acknowledge that they were racist monsters at the time.
I have a tough time judging people based upon the standards of their society versus our society because it was a completely different society.
I mean, okay, but like my grandpa was part of that society and he wasn't a racist monster. So, there's plenty of people that were around during that time that were not racist monsters and have had the capacity for human decency. So, So I just want that acknowledgement. I just want to point out that acknowledgement before people get mad at us for praising Henry Ford and his business practices.
Yeah, it's wrong to be racist. I have no idea what racist things he did. Sure.
There's plenty. There's plenty. Now I will say that he did, at least for the United States, he did champion the 8-hour workday and the weekend.
Yeah.
He championed a 5-hour work week, and he felt that it was
5-day work week.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I was going to say.
For me, it's a 5-hour work week. The 5-day work week. He championed the 5-day work week and the 8-hour work day in the United States at least, and that was a big part of. And he felt that it did make his business more efficient to do that. And I do feel like, and I don't know why, but I do feel like corporations have been I feel like we've lost that a little bit in corporations today. Like I feel like they don't understand that you can get more efficient work out of people in a shorter amount of time if you don't overwork them. And I don't know when we lost that in our society, but I feel like now, to be fair, I haven't had a real job in 10 years. So I am probably not the right person, but my wife does. My wife has a real job. I feel like teachers are one of the most overworked people in the United States. Teachers, nurses get overworked, but they get paid a little better than teachers do. But I do feel like corporations do try to have been over the years slowly working people more and more and more. But I feel like they're not getting as it's not working out for them. Well, and I think I don't know why. I don't know how that happened or how to fix it or anything like that. I have no answers.
I think that there's a strong correlation between that mentality and bureaucracy that has been layered in by academia with human resources and human relations. And you also see that same thing in academia itself, where you're having so many support staff within universities and stuff like that. It's almost 1-to-1 student to faculty, and not teaching faculty, but support faculty, and just the cost of academia going up. Teaching, hey, this is the only way that you can do stuff, and then you get out into the world. Bureaucracy is so layered that the people who are actually doing work and producing things have to carry all of that burden.
Right. Sure. Sure. That's sure. I don't have anything else to add to what you said, except that the problem I think that a lot of corporations are having right now, because we do have I don't, not as much as I think it was worse a couple years ago, but we do have a lot of people starting to say, like, you know what, I don't want to work for a corporation anymore.
Yeah.
And we are in a society right now where you can work for yourself. It's easier to work for yourself now more than any other time in history. Well, with the exception of like farming and stuff like that.
Within the last 100 years.
Yeah, within the last 100 years. Within the last 100 years, it's been easier to be your own boss and work for yourself than any other time in our modern society in the last 100 years, since the advent of factories and things like that.
Yep.
And so we do see a lot of businesses, a lot of corporations losing employees because they don't want to have to work on a schedule. You don't want to have Wednesdays and Mondays and Wednesdays off, stuff like that,
Right.
things like that. So it's like, so there's that, and I don't like it. I don't like when, a few years ago there was that narrative that like nobody wants to work anymore. I don't
Quiet quitting.
quiet quitting. Which, by the way, you know what quiet quitting is? I don't like the way they label things sometimes because they give it this like bad name, like doom scrolling. It's like, no, why'd you add doom to that? Like, you're just like, what does that even mean? I don't even know what that. I don't even understand why the term doom scrolling is on there. Like, you're not doing it until you die. Like, I don't like, or quiet quitting. It's like the concept of quiet quitting is you just don't do more than you are supposed to do. That's it. Like, you just do enough so that you don't get fired, which is
You're setting your boundaries.
you're setting your boundaries, right? Like, that's what it should be called. It should be called setting your boundaries. What's it called? Workplace,
Work-life balance.
Work-life balance. That's really what it is. It's work-life balance. But somehow it got turned into quiet quitting, and it's like, that's not. No, you're just setting boundaries. And I feel like now corporations are starting to come around and starting to understand that it's okay to set boundaries, and it's really the middle management that's the problem most of the time. Usually
Bureaucracy.
it's usually the bureaucracy of the guy in the middle that's like trying to justify his job, so he pushes you and then ends up in a toxic work environment. And I do feel like some corporations are starting to see that, so starting to understand that, and starting to make changes. And and before the pandemic, there was a lot of research and studies about corporations who did understand that and started understanding that, like, if we make them stay longer, it doesn't help us any because we still have to pay them and they're not producing as much.
Yep.
So it's like they're just being less productive if we make them stay longer to work.
In economics, the law of diminishing returns.
Yes. And I think somehow the corporations forgot the law of diminishing returns, and then just started overworking everybody. But I think some people are starting to understand it and work backwards and get better production out of people.
Yep.
And that's really what it comes down to. People are realizing, like, oh, wait, I shouldn't just if I'm the best employee at this company, the most I get out of this is a pizza. Like, that's like, I should be getting more. I should be rewarded for being the best employee at this company with more than just a pizza. Like, things like that.
I think one of the worst things that has happened, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Let me see. It's
the term Mayday used in distress calls has no connection to today. Has no connection to the holiday Mayday.
Okay.
The phrase Mayday comes from the French phrase Madez. I don't know how to pronounce French. It's MAM'Aidez. Madez, meaning help me. So it just means help me.
It probably is pronounced Made.
Made? Yeah, probably. It's probably pronounced Made. Yeah, you're right. So then Americans just started pronouncing it Mayday.
Made.
So it has nothing to do with today, but the maypole does. The maypole is a spring tradition.
And that's when you bounce around a pole with a ribbon.
Yes, the ribbon pole. And it is a symbol of fertility and abundance. for spring and everything like that. So that's something that's been around since the Middle Ages.
The thing that I was going to say is a bad thing, and as much as I love being a capitalist, private equity firms
Yeah,
are
private equity
are
firms are.
are, are usually the things that spell the doom
Yes.
for businesses.
Oh, I recently learned of one that I'm afraid for. Jersey Mike's. Did you hear about this?
Yep.
Jersey Mike's got bought by a private equity firm, a firm that specifically buys out places like restaurants, chain restaurants, and then runs them into the ground to get as much money out of them as possible.
Yep.
And then they just go downhill and fall apart.
Yeah, they
I'm very sad about that because I like Jersey Mike's.
change the suppliers.
Right.
They
Make it cheaper and
change
worse.
the product.
Yep.
And yep.
They make it cheaper and worse until they get all the money that they can out of it. Yeah, so that is one of the biggest issues with our version of capitalism that we have in the United States is private equity firms, not just for corporations, but for buying houses, like hedge funds buying houses, things like that. Like we have a housing crisis right now in big part because corporations are buying houses as investments.
Well, so it's easy to blame the corporations, but a lot of times
It is.
It's the governmental rules and
Sure.
that are in place that prevent the small investor from actually accessing the market.
Sure, and what we need is we need people in government that understand that and are going to champion the regular people for the housing market. And recently we had the I can't remember his name, but the whoever is in charge of that right now in the government, like the Secretary of Housing and Development, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Recently said, we need to stop getting, we need to stop having big corporations buy these houses. We need to start focusing on families buying houses, and we need to focus on small families buying houses, like, those who buy 6 or 7 houses. And which was one of the most out of touch things I've ever heard about the housing market. It's like,
So here's the thing though, like I know several people who have bought a house and then moved into another house and
Sure.
never sold their first house and just kept it as a rental and end up owning 5 or 6 homes, and that is basically their retirement and end up very wealthy.
sure.
That's
and I don't have
that's
a problem
normal
with
thing.
that. I don't have a problem with that because it does open up housing for people because they are renting their properties out.
Right.
So but I don't have a problem with that. But that's not who has the issue. That's not who the problem is for. The problem is for the people who are trying to buy their first house. Like those people who have 5 or 6 houses, sure, continue to let them do that. For the most part, and this is a blanket statement, obviously I don't know the ins and outs of it, continue to let them do that for the most part because they are providing housing for people. But it's like, but that doesn't, but we need to focus on the people who are still struggling to buy their first house. And I think there's been no regard for that in the last, I don't know, probably a long time. It's been a long time since that's part of the reason why we have a housing crisis, because nobody's focusing on those people that are trying to buy their house for the first time.
Well, they're trying to stack the deck to allow people who have a higher risk profile to buy homes and so it's throwing everything out of whack. Instead of saying, hey, you have to have this much money to put down. Yeah, they're trying to stack the deck for things like social justice and social equity, when it should just be the equity part that
Sure.
that matters.
Because you'd be focusing on, sure.
And so they're changing the rules, and that's forcing companies to adjust their risk profiles and make it difficult for everybody.
And nobody wants the housing bubble again, like we had in the early 2000s, obviously, which was the opposite. They were giving but people without jobs, they were giving these loans that were terrible. Mm-hmm. These terrible loans that they knew they couldn't pay off. and because they were getting these gigantic commissions off of it. Although
Yeah.
hopefully we've learned our lessons since then. There's now laws in place against stuff like this and regulations,
Uh,
so that that doesn't happen again. That we don't have a housing bubble crisis like that again. But I don't know. Maybe we will.
there are, but the laws went the wrong way, and that's why all the corporations are buying the homes. So again, it's the laws that are written that don't help people; they help the corporations. And I'm very pro corporation, but it's that barrier of entry that government's creating. So bad government.
The crowning of the May Queen is a symbolic figure representing spring's beauty and renewal. This is the spring tradition of May Day, not the communist tradition of May Day.
I don't know.
A floral festival and parade. Communities celebrate nature with flower-themed events.
That sounds pretty communist.
Morris dancing. What's Morris dancing? A traditional English folk dance performed during the festivities.
And sung by Morrissey.
Yep, sung by Morrissey.
Nice.
I think that's all I have. Oh, and labor union rallies and protests.
That sounds right. Yep. Yep.
Isn't it funny that May Day is there's these two sides of it? Like the May Day spring celebration has been around for forever, not forever, but the Middle Ages,
Yeah.
for a long time, hundreds of years. And then I guess what is happening, and tell me if you're getting the same vibe, is I guess like the labor union parties and stuff like that, when they needed a day for protest, decided to co-opt May Day. Is that what happened?
It seems like they're like, hey, all these people are out here dancing around with flowers and talking about fertility, and those seem like the kind of people susceptible to communism. So I don't know. I'm just in a mood right now. I'm old and tired, and yeah, that's rough. Okay.
Let's see. There was something I was going to say about this, and I forgot. There's something having to do with this, and I forgot what it was. This is how they celebrated in Asia.
Okay.
And Latin America. Wait, Asia and Latin America. Those are two very different places.
Yeah, but they both have strong socialism ties.
Well, it depends on the Asia.
It does, but a lot of Asia.
Many countries observe the day as a public holiday, honoring workers with parades and political activism.
See?
In the United States, while not an official holiday, labor unions and activists mark the day with protests and rallies.
See?
And in Europe, May Day is a spring festival with flowers, music, and dancing.
Yep, it all ties together.
Listen, this is my opportunity to tell you that I have bought a commune, and we're all gonna live there, and we're all gonna work together and till the land, and we're gonna live together, and we're all gonna support each other and nobody is gonna have labor power over anybody.
Uh-huh. Yep, I agree that
The commune I have bought is just the lot I live in. You're gonna have to move to my backyard.
So that nobody's going to have power over anybody. No, that is the exact definition of somebody who's never been married.
You know what I was thinking though? I sometimes I do have thoughts of like it would be nice to just live in the middle of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice? Doesn't that feel fun or feel romantic? But then you're like, well, then I wouldn't be able to go to McDonald's. But sometimes I do think about that. I probably would get sick of it after a while. But like sometimes I do think like I would love to just live in the middle of nowhere, grow my own food, raise my own cattle, that kind of like you just live off the land for a while and not have to answer to anybody as far as like taxes or selling things or buying things. It's just I just make it all myself. I don't know how to do any of that.
No, yeah.
I would die if I did that.
That sounds very labor intensive
Yes.
and painful.
But I think I would, at least at the end of it, it is labor intensive, but at least at the end of it, it would be, I would feel fulfilled with the labor because it was labor for me, like labor that I would be doing for myself, raising cattle, butchering the animals, living off the land,
Dude,
cultivating eggs, that kind of stuff.
I think at the end of the day, I would sit down and say, boy, this is like the worst sandwich I've ever had, but I'm so thankful for it.
Sure. I feel like I would appreciate everything I had.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If I were in the middle of nowhere living off by myself, having to run things by I don't know. So I have this romantic idea that I'd like to be a farmer or something. But not just a farmer, just like a farmer in the middle of nowhere.
I was about to say I would love to own a plantation, but
I don't think you should say that in this
but,
era.
but
in the color you are.
yeah, I knew that was gonna, like, I would love to own like a ranch and have
right.
and have that, and it was that just thought was not coming out the right way.
I wouldn't mind raising animals. I would like to raise animals. I would like to have a ranch and raise animals. And
I would like to have a ranch and have other people raise animals for me.
see, I want to be involved. I want to be involved in the raising of the animals.
I would. I'd go out and pet them.
I feel like I could do it. I feel like I could figure it out. I feel like I could do it myself. Not like a whole bunch of them, just like a couple pigs, maybe some cattle, some
Have a
chickens.
horse burger.
Yeah, maybe some horses, maybe some chickens.
Chickens. I love chicken, but they smell real bad.
They
so
do smell bad.
I
Yeah,
don't know
that
if
is true.
I'd wanna
They do
that.
smell bad. Yeah, they are stinky. Yeah. There's something else I was gonna say. I don't remember. I saw. Is this thing on?
Is this thing on?
The
Oh, is that Will Arnett?
Will Arnett
Okay.
stand-up comedy. Now, have you seen it yet?
I have not.
So I will say the thing about this movie is it is not a stand-up comedy movie. Stand-up comedy is just a thing that happens in it.
Okay.
So the movie is not like about stand-up comedy. It is about a divorce. That's what
Okay.
it's about. It's about a relationship between a husband and a wife,
Okay.
and their separation and going through a divorce, that kind of stuff, and their kids and stuff like that. And Will Arnett is great in it. Laura Dern is great in it. Like, the acting's phenomenal. They're the main characters. Their acting is very good. It's very kind of sad and kind of boring,
Right.
but in a like independent filmy way.
Okay.
So it's good. I enjoyed it. I'd give it maybe a 7 out of 10. Like, not bad. My biggest complaint about it is that it wasn't about stand up.
Yeah.
Is that it is. I mean, the stand-up's just kind of a side character in it. Now, it was great. I saw comics I know that I've worked with that are in that movie, which is great.
So that's cool.
It was really fun to see them. It was really fun to see McDougal Street showcased in New York.
Okay.
Like, I was just there last year, and I got to see all of that stuff. He was performing in all of the places that I performed at while I was there in New York. The Grizzly Pear was featured well in it. They had
Nice.
painted over the Grizzly Pear sign, so you couldn't tell that that's what it was, but I could tell that's where he was for
Right.
a lot of those shots. A lot of it's filmed in the cellar. Most of the stand-up stuff is filmed in the cellar, but I feel like they did a pretty good job of representing what a show is like there and what it's like to like kind of hang out with the comics there. My only complaint about that portrayal of the stand-up comedy is, and by the way, I believe the manager of the cellar played herself in it,
Okay.
which was kind of fun to see her in it.
Yeah.
And then the comics, they changed their names in the movie. Like, there were 2 comics that I have worked with in the past that were in the movie that it was fun to see them have real parts in it and real in a real movie.
Right.
But what was I going to say? Oh, but my biggest complaint about the portrayal of it is, first of all, there's not an open mic at the cellar. And
Yeah.
he does the open, it's like he goes to the cellar, signs up for the open mic, which is fine. That plot is fine. It's just like That doesn't happen at the Cellar.
Right.
And he's like going up at the Cellar every night at their open mic, but they don't have an open mic at the Cellar. And you can go up every night and do comedy, but just not there. And it's like, and then he got onto a showcase at the Cellar, and it's like that's not really it. Like you don't get on a showcase after 3 months of doing comedy. It's like I don't know. That part bugged me a little bit. Emery thought it was hilarious that I was nitpick. He felt like I was nitpicking, but I'm like, but this is something I know and am part of, and this is my life and career and stuff. And it's just I like to see things of my career to be portrayed correctly.
Yep.
The whole thing had the smell of somebody who wants to be a stand-up comic but can't, and then made a movie about it. Like Bradley Cooper, it felt like he loved the stand-up comedy world, and then did an outsider's perspective of what he thinks stand-up comedy is.
I can see that. So, did you ever see the old Tom Hanks Sally
Yes.
Field movie?
Yeah, a long time ago. Punchline, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember how. It was before I was a stand-up, so I don't remember.
I remember watching that as a child, way too young to have watched it. And that was I know one of the reasons why I romanticized stand up and became a stand up. I 100% know that was a heavy influence just because I loved that idea.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how this movie is and how it'll hit me because I'll be thinking about that movie.
So yes, you probably will be thinking about that movie. I need to rewatch it. I haven't watched it in so long that I don't remember all of it. I do remember them having lockers at the comedy club, which is not a thing.
No,
you do not have lockers at the comedy club.
Yeah. John Goodman was Sally Field's husband.
Yeah, that's right. So I will say that. So I have to rewatch it and see, but I will say about one of the most accurate portrayals of stand-up comedy, what it's really like to be a stand-up comic, at least at that time, is I'm Dying Up Here, the TV show.
I know it, but did not watch it.
I would recommend watching it if you want to see an accurate portrayal about what it's like to be a stand-up comic, especially in the 70s. It was like 1978, I want to say 79 when they portrayed that. And it's specifically about the Comedy Store, even though they don't call it the Comedy Store. They changed the names. But it feels very accurate. And it was based off of a book.
Yep.
Which the book is about people. They use real names in it, Freddie Prinze and people, and people like that, and Richard Pryor, and that era of stand-up comedy at the Comedy Store, and so that does feel, at least as far as club comedy is concerned, that is a very, I feel like, accurate portrayal. And the hangout of the comics too felt very natural in how it's really like in real life.
And that had Clark Duke in it, right?
Who's Clark Duke?
He is a nerdy guy with glasses.
Oh, yes. That's his name, Clark Duke?
Yeah.
He was in The Office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last couple years of The Office.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a main character in it.
Okay. Yeah.
And he has a kind of a through story in it that's pretty good.
I liked him. He was in a TV show that I saw, like his breakout show is called Greek. Like on the WB, and I just happened to watch a couple episodes and I really like this. I like that kid. I'm a fan.
I would say that another good show that is a good portrayal of what it's like to be a stand-up comic is Crashing.
Crashing's phenomenal.
That's probably the perfect portrayal of what it's like to be a stand-up comedy in now. That I'm Dying Up Here was the 70s. I think that's a very good portrayal of what it's like to be a stand-up comic in New York now.
Yeah,
and you start with him being kind of a working comic, but not. You kind of start with him. He's not just an open micer. You don't start from scratch, which I think is a big problem when you're portraying stand-up comics. The people who do stand-up comedy, when you're portraying them, they always want to start with the open mic part of it. But that's years. You're trying to, and I think that was my biggest complaint about the Will Arnett character was they kind of squeezed years of stand-up comedy into maybe a year. I don't know how long it is in the movie, but it's like what he did in a year, normal stand-up comics do in like 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think that and I think the impulse sometimes is to start with that stand-up, the open mic era of being a stand-up, but it's too unreal. To me, it always bothers me. It always triggers me to be like, that's too unreal. Like it would start at the 5-year mark when they're just starting to get paid for stuff.
Yep.
Or when they're just starting to get on showcases and stuff like that. And I feel like that's a much more compelling story. Is starting because they're not going to be good when they're in their open mic era.
Yeah, it's very rare you have somebody who has overnight success. Overnight success is usually 10 years in the making.
Another movie that bothered me with their portrayal of stand-up comedy was The Joker.
Didn't see it because I didn't care.
Yeah, I didn't care. But The Joker was I actually liked the movie, and they pulled some things from the comics, like specific scenes from the comics of ones that I really liked,
right?
That I really enjoyed. But I kind of wanted, a bigger, a little meatier. Like he was just so nothing, and I guess that was the point. He was just nothing before he became the Joker.
Yep.
Which is I guess kind of the point. But like I kind of wanted him to be a character already, and then morph into the Joker from being like I wanted him to be a good stand-up. Like I wanted that. I wanted him to be an interesting stand-up, but his stand-up just wasn't that interesting.
Talk about being a good stand-up, an interesting stand-up. You have any shows coming up?
Yeah, so that's code word for we got to wrap this up. Friday. What's today? So yes, today,
May
1st. Come see Johnny Mac at Really Good Beer Stop. I think it might be our last one for a couple months. I think he wants to take the summer off.
Okay.
So the next one might not be till August or September. We're definitely taking July off because it's 4th of July weekend.
Right.
But come out. We're already over 20. We're about 25 tickets sold right now. If we still have some room for more people. So please come out. Johnny Mac is great.
I'm going to be doing my best to swing by, maybe grab 5 and enjoy the show.
Yeah. Come out. Get on a guest set. It'll be a fun show. Should be a good crowd, but one of the better ones we've had in the last few months with Really Good Beer Stop. I've got the market on tomorrow, on Saturday, the Fleming Island Market. So come out to that. And then Monday at Shantytown, it is May the 4th be with you.
Oh, very nice.
So we are going to have a Star Wars themed show on May the 4th be with you. There will be steak sandwiches.
Oh, I love those steak sandwiches.
So please come out to Shantytown on Monday, May 4th. And yeah, come May 1st to come tonight to see Johnny Mac at Really Good Beer Stop. You got anything else?
I do not have anything else in the books right now, unfortunately, but soon, very soon.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Today is Whatever We Say It Is, and you're here for it. I'm Joey Nickel.
I'm Bobby Parker.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Today is whatever they say it is, and we're here for it.